about home. They're married to real estate.
Hi everyone, welcome to the podcast for people who love real estate and want to become inspired and informed. Whether you are a newbie real estate agent looking to get tips, learn a thing or two, or maybe you're a savvy property owner who wants to get a jump on the market, this is the place for you. We discuss our passion for real estate and people, and we bring together our personal experiences as well as our guests to learn from each other. You'll hear from experts in sales coaching, real estate law, mortgage lending, investing, and many local business owners on how to grow your business or your investment in real estate. I'm Mairi McCauley.
I'm Mairi Elliot.
I'm Mary Forster.
And we are Married to Real Estate.
Well, hello everybody, and welcome to, as our intro says, Married to Real Estate. And we are at our 5th episode today, and so excited. So what we begin with is an opportunity for the Marys to talk to each other.
Yeah.
And today we're in a video studio rather than our audio studio for an important technology reason. So today we're going to be talking to each other, and but over and to a camera. So it might seem a little strange to us, but it'll be fun. So the way we start typically is to ask how each of us is doing since the last episode. Anything you want to share with our audience?
You just had a closing, didn't you,
I did. I was
McCauley?
just going to say that. So I just had a closing with some awesome first-time home buyers, and it went off without a hitch, I have to say. You know, knock on wood, not every transaction is super smooth like this, but it was, and I'm very excited for them. And I tried out a new little thing. I ordered lawn letters that say "Welcome Home," and put them in their lawn. So when they went after the closing to see their home, you know, again, since now they own it, it was really good. They loved it.
Sweet.
I think I saw it on Facebook. Did you post? You posted the picture, right?
I did. I posted it on Facebook.
Oh, super. Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, congrats on that. They look very, very happy in that photo. That's, that's
They
awesome.
were cute.
They're very cute.
Yeah, and they were a referral from a past client. They had worked with another agent and had no luck getting anything accepted, and so
that's right.
They were with me just a couple of weeks, and we were under agreement.
Oh
so.
my gosh, they must be over the moon. Yeah.
Well, it's going to be terrific because our guest speaker today is an expert on doing business by referral. So
love that.
We'll have some more opportunity to discuss that.
Learn more about.
We love referrals.
So, Mary Elliot, what's new and exciting?
I am very well. I had a very fun experience yesterday. I recorded another podcast actually with a. I know.
What?
I was a guest.
Without us?
Oh, all
I
right.
was just a guest. I'm not hosting this one. And my client, I have clients, and they text me, and I happened to be 15 minutes away from a house that they wanted to see, so I was able to quickly get a showing in for them while I was in the podcast recording.
Hashtag real estate life.
Exactly. And they got there, and they were like that excited feeling when you see the house you really love, and they were sort of like hopping around the house, all opening the doors. It was so sweet, and I just was like, this is the one I can tell. So we're going to put an offer on that one, and I'm excited for them. I think they've got a good shot at it. So we will see what happens on Monday, deadline Monday, and nothing sooner. But
congratulations,
yeah,
great.
That's very exciting. Yeah.
Wow, this is definitely a multifaceted world that we work in and live in, and so I would say my happiest week I've had is not related to real estate. I injured my knee in July. I've been through the medical system since then, being a good patient, and still hobbling 4.5 months later. And our Rotary had a visitor guest, a doctor of physical therapy, and I just decided to give him a call because he said a few things that made sense to me. I had 3 sessions with him. 3 sessions, very different from the other physical therapy I had at the doctor's medical organization. I can walk.
It's incredible.
That's amazing.
I was so afraid I was not going to be able to walk again, ever, like a normal person.
Yeah.
And so I am walking on clouds right
Yay.
now. So it's been a great 2 weeks.
That's awesome. So if anyone is interested in PT and a really good referral, reach out to you.
Dr. Kevin McGovern. He's located in Acton, Mass.
Yep.
And he serves the whole area, and his areas of expertise are sports injuries, specifically he is into pitchers, and he also helps people who have had rough PT experiences. And anybody who really wants to change, a lot of golfers who, are suffer in pain in their back, and he's really excellent, just excellent.
I love that you found this guy through ballroom dancing.
Yes, exactly.
I love that. That's what the art of referral is, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And it's happening to you.
Exactly.
Physically.
Right.
It's amazing.
So great, so great.
Yeah.
That's great.
So today we have our second ever guest.
I know.
And when we went to select guests, it was like, who do we want to share with our world, right? And what we have in common is a desire to share motivators and leaders, people who are models for us, people who are teachers, people who are committed to just always growing. And our guest today is Frank Menard. And Frank is from New Hampshire originally, but he lives somewhere in the South.
Somewhere in the South.
Somewhere like
I
south
don't know.
of
Somewhere
We
south
still
of
love
the
you,
Mason
Frank.
Mason-Dixon line somewhere. He'll tell us all
We forgive
about
you. We might be jealous.
We might
right.
forgive you. but Frank's credentials are amazing. Just amazing.
Incredible.
So I will just start with a little bit of it, right? A Marine since age 19, I believe. Became a Marine recruiter, retired as a Marine recruiter, was a broker from New Hampshire, a very successful broker. Frank is also trained as a John Maxwell speaker and trainer. He has trained Brian Buffini. Brian Buffini is a noted real estate training system based on doing business by referral. He is really active right now in a lot of veteran activities and organizations, and the state of Florida Veterans Organizations Group have discovered him, and he's also a member of Women in Real Estate in the Florida area. He's a frequent speaker for them. I could go on and on and on, and so I'm just we're gonna focus on one thing for a little bit, and then ladies, we're going to have a blast talking to Frank.
Yes, we are. I can't wait.
I'm so excited.
Yeah.
And thank you for your service, Frank.
Yeah, so much.
Very welcome. I've been waiting for 26 years for them to call me back.
So Frank, before we get started about doing business by referral, how do you feel about when people talk about you this way? Is this sinking in your brain?
It's really interesting. I consider myself to be one of the luckiest people in the world. I barely get out of high school. In fact, my mom just moved in with us a couple weeks ago, and she presented some of my old report cards. I hope my children never see them.
Ouch.
But I was fortunate enough to join the Marine Corps at a very young age, 18, straight out of high school.
Wow.
And spent 2 years traveling the country. My recruiting pitch, I would always say to kids, before the age of 19, I'd been to Guam, Taiwan, Thailand, Hong Kong, Korea, the Philippines, and Japan. And then it's a simple question: would you like to join?
Right.
In the Marine Corps' infinite wisdom, when I came back from overseas, they stuck me in the middle of the desert. And I decided that I did not like being in the desert. So I volunteered to re-enlist early, and they promoted me to my next rank and allowed me to choose my next duty station, which was recruiting in my hometown of Nashua, New Hampshire.
Wow.
That was just the beginning, and everything that I have in my history today, I connect back to becoming a Marine recruiter at the young age of 21.
Wow.
Right.
Oh, wow.
Right. It really sounds like a sales position. I mean, when you just said it like that, I've been in all of these places now. Where do you want to sign? That's a sales position.
Well, exactly right.
Yeah.
I mean, recruiting is sales. In fact,
Yeah.
I was the last class in high school, 1974, to be required to register for the draft. So it was about that time that all of the military services had to start training their recruiters in sales.
Oh, interesting.
People weren't just signing up and being told to go. You actually had to go out and find them.
Right.
So I was trained by Xerox Document University in professional selling skills.
Really?
Yeah, and it was, and at one point in my career, I was actually a certified master trainer for Xerox training.
Did you sell
where'd
a
that come from,
Xerox a
right?
day in your life? Did you ever sell one?
I never sold a Xerox.
That's right.
Skills last forever, though.
They did certify us when I was stationed at headquarters Marine Corps. I was a national sales trainer for their recruiting force. We had eight individuals, 4 were officers, 4 were enlisted men, and we would travel the country just identifying where the deficiencies were in sales and recruiting, and we would try to solve the problem. So I have no idea. I had no idea that my career was going to take me in this direction.
Yeah.
When I went looking for a coach to help me set up a referral business here locally in Mass, but also the rest of the continent and North America, I came across Frank Menard.
Yeah.
And I heard he was a productivity coach for Keller Williams, so I'm with the Keller Williams office now, Market Center.
And I'm involved in our productivity coaching
Mairi
program
McCauley's
currently.
moving deeply into the productivity coaching right now.
Yeah.
And so, but he's also a Buffini trainer, which is just really awesome. I don't know how I find you. And then you're from Nashua, so I'm originally from New England also, and now back into New England. So, I was just checking off the boxes.
Right.
Yeah.
But I would say I have been so pleased to know you. I am still coached by Frank. And it's more kind of a life coach now, which I think happens a lot, when you're in coaching for a little bit. So.
Yeah.
So Frank, our audience is really eclectic. It's business people, it's real estate people, it's people who are just curious about life. Who's in it is Lisa Tilstra and Tim and all those people whom are in our audience as well. So would you tell us about creating a successful business by doing it by referral, and what the elements are, and then let's talk about a little bit about resources, okay?
Sure. Thank you, Mairi. First and foremost, I think the element is simply people. It's all about building relationships. I have sold a lot of things in my life, and it never feels like selling because I just feel like I'm serving people. So having a servant attitude, I think, is key. It's not about the money. I no longer work for money. I work for the benefit that I gain from helping other people. So the key element is you really have to care. Many of my close friends today, in fact, my wife, I enlisted in the Marine Corps. That's where we began building our relationships.
Wow.
So I think it's really key. You don't go into a presentation, whether it be a listing presentation or a buyer consultation getting started in real estate, you don't go in worrying about the paycheck.
No.
You go asking a lot of questions. My buyer consultations used to be anywhere from an hour to an hour and a half, just trying to figure out what do they want, where they want to go. And my tagline today is I meet people where they are and I help them get to where they want to be.
That's a good one. Yeah, that's a great one.
When you think about coaching, I don't know how I ended up here. I mean, I moved from New Hampshire to Florida about 6 years ago. I saw an opportunity to be employed by the local Keller Williams office. I have been relatively successful as a real estate broker in New Hampshire. So I just applied for a productivity coach position. What I found was coaching is a lot more personal than I ever thought it was. It's not all about the numbers.
That's right.
I agree with that.
When Mairi mentions that it becomes about more like a life, I didn't want to be a life coach.
Yeah.
I am a life coach. But it's funny because life and business just kind of come together.
They do.
They are.
You're not open to both sides. You can't help people.
That's right.
I typically start with my coaching clients today discussing, the 7 circles of life, business, finance, physical health, relationships, and find out through their own personal assessment, how do they grade themselves in each one of those circles? If they think that they're doing great, fine. Then we go to a different direction. Almost every coaching client that I'm working with today they're not concerned about productivity. They're concerned about balance.
Balance. That's hard. That's really hard to acquire.
Yeah.
And maybe that's why, Mairi, you say life coach, because it can take a lifetime. It's always adjusting. Right?
Well, I think that's the whole key to a successful business is that you have that balance because they're inextricable. You can't have your business without your life being involved, you know, and
Yeah, so having a business dead would
yeah, it would not be very fruitful
or fun.
Right,
Right.
no. So having that, it's impossible for you to really not be such a big influence on these people's lives that you're coaching, I imagine.
Well, it really goes back all the way back to my recruiting days. I've had recruits on Facebook. Thank goodness for Facebook and social media. You get to reconnect with a lot of folks.
Yes.
And I don't think any of us realize the impact that we have on other people until the opportunity comes for them to authentically tell you how much you impacted their lives.
Yeah.
I recently posted a picture of my recruiter, who was my mentor. I replaced him as a recruiter in New Hampshire. Both of us, our recruit boot camp pictures side by side on Facebook. And I said to him, "You have no idea how much impact you've had on my life." Yeah. And so I just got chills because I know that same statement has come back to me from some of my recruits.
Yeah.
Likewise with people in business and in real estate. How much influence do you have? Well, it all depends on how much service you bring to the table.
True.
And when they stop thinking that you're nothing more than a salesperson and start thinking that you're more of a friend and a relationship and a resource, that's when the whole relationship changes.
100%. Yep.
I was taught a lot of this as a recruiter. I didn't realize the value of it until 2006 when the real estate market crashed. I was, my wife and I, both full-time real estate agents. Our story is at the end of the first quarter of 2006, we had one closing, which equated to about one $5,000 paycheck in the whole first quarter.
Wow.
I had 2 kids in college, 2 mortgage payments, and 2 car payments.
Oh, wow. Scary.
That just wasn't going to support that life.
Yeah.
I went to my broker, and I was at RE/MAX at the time, and he told me that I probably need some professional help. I thought he meant I needed a psychiatrist.
Maybe.
But he
Don't
said,
rule it out.
But he said, no, I think you should probably hire a coach. I had never even considered coaching. I went, his office was on the 3rd floor. I went down to my 2nd floor office. My wife was sitting there with her head in her hands, wondering where we were going to go from here. Yeah. And so I said, well, we're going to spend $600 a month and hire a coach. She was not happy with that.
Right. Yeah. How did that go?
Yeah, that's scary.
$600 a month that we couldn't afford, right?
Right.
Right.
And so I got connected with Buffini and Company, which at that time was the largest real estate coaching company in North America.
Yeah.
And I was reminded of the foundational principles of how to work by referral. So while everyone else, all of my colleagues were going broke, losing their cars, bankruptcy, I was simply making phone calls to my database, writing personal notes.
Right.
I mean, that was a hard thing for me. I'm a Marine. I don't write personal notes. Give me a break.
You don't have mushy feelings.
Warm fuzzies going on.
And then, visiting my clients on a consistent basis just to check in, see how things were going. And the story, is in the first 6 months, the market was crashing, and we earned $100,000 in net commission.
Super.
Good for you.
Yep.
My wife still wasn't convinced. And then
Good for her.
6 months. So 1 year into coaching,
Yeah.
and we had earned over $200,000 in net commissions. We were able to close our kids
Incredible.
college debt free.
Wow.
And that's when I realized that it's all about referrals. Everything is about referrals. The old school used to be, it's a good old boy network, right? Who do you know? And it truly is, who do you know? But not who do you know to get what you want, who do you know to help other people get what they want?
That's right. Yeah.
Well, and I think that's a really important shift in mindset to come at it from that direction.
Yes.
I think people don't do that enough. That's not their first instinct.
And I think you can see that physically happen when you do make that shift, because those things start to come to you more freely. People are just more willing to, give you their business because you're not begging them for it. You're just out there to see what they need and how you can help them. I find that to be such an important mindset shift that makes all the difference. Yeah.
And it's a mindset shift, no matter, even if you're not selling.
Right.
Today I'm much more of a veteran's advocate in what I do with my daily life. I'm still a broker. I do work by referral. But my focus, remember, I was a recruiter for 20 of my 22 years. So my focus today is, while I suck them in on the front end, maybe I can help them out on the back end.
There you
Wonderful.
go.
Oh, there you go.
Full
Okay.
service, soup to nuts.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
And what I found is by telling the story and just by being there to help,
Yes.
all of a sudden as Mairi mentioned earlier, I'm being kept very busy doing so many different things in so many different venues.
Right. Right.
You know, whether it be with the Women's Council of Realtors here locally in Florida. Mission 22 is an organization that I work with in the fight against veteran suicide. In fact, I'm doing an event tomorrow, and every time I do an event, the network just spreads.
Yep.
One of the first books I ever read in sales was written by a gentleman by the name of Joe Girard. Probably 1975, 76, he wrote it. I read it in 77. Joe Girard was the #1 car salesman listed in the Guinness Book of Records for automotive sales. 11 years in a row.
Wow.
It wasn't fleet sales, it was belly-to-belly sales, so it was one person at a time.
Yep.
And he had a law. One of his chapters was called the Law of 250. And in the Law of 250, he basically interviewed funeral directors and wedding planners.
Wow.
And he asked them, how do you determine how many people to prepare for? And the response he got was, typically everyone knows at least 250 people well enough that they would invite to a wedding, or that would probably attend their funeral.
Right.
Wow.
And he took that to mean that if he did a really good job in his car sales business, well enough that people would talk about him in a good nature,
Yep.
that he just accessed over 250 people for
Right.
each person
Per
that he served.
person.
Yes.
Right. What a way to tip that on its head.
Yes.
You know?
Those
Yeah.
numbers go
You do the-
crazy
do
when
the
you do
math,
the math.
you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
My current database is
doing-
probably
We are
about
doing
200
I'm
math.
doing math.
Frank, you said there'd be no math.
I know. That's funny.
But it's just scary when you do the math, because
Right.
if you had a database of 250 people, multiply that by
By
250 for
Yeah.
each one.
Right.
250 cubed, yes.
And that's how you
Wait.
get in the Guinness World Record book.
Right.
World
That's
Records,
yeah.
yeah.
Thank you for that. Yeah. That's incredible. I didn't even know you could be in the
I know,
Guinness
for that, for
That's-
sales.
I have a
like
new
that.
goal now, by
New
the way.
goal,
Yeah,
okay.
new goal.
Wait a minute, wait a minute.
It's
watch
on. It's on, Mary.
How many babies get born
Oh,
20
that's
minutes
right.
after they buy a
Right.
house?
How many houses can I sell
You're
while
off to
the
a
mother
good
is
start.
in labor?
You got a leg up on us.
Well, you certainly start to see that impact when the children of the people that we've sold homes to
Yeah.
suddenly start looking to buy homes, right?
Yeah.
Well, that's the one I just closed on. I sold the parents a home, then I sold the son a home, then his coworker is the one I just
I
closed
love
on.
that so much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
And
it
it's-
seems to me one of the stories I recall hearing, and I don't remember which Mary it was, but weren't you signing documents when a baby was being born?
Yeah, that
yeah.
that one was me. Yes,
Yep.
yeah.
National news, Frank.
Right, right.
Her first closing.
Superstar.
First closing,
here,
I
yeah.
just end up on the news. That's normal.
go.
It's okay. Yeah.
Frank, we
Just
Right
over the
place,
summer.
right time, and you were
Yeah.
on the news. Go
Yeah,
figure.
and
I
so
know.
think about all those 250 eyeballs that were, each one of those people in that scenario. And honestly, like, I do feel still so close and connected to that family. That's not going to go away, and I do look forward to. I see a future where those two daughters that they have are going to buy a house someday, and they're going
And you're
to
going to
come
be
back
the
to me.
agent.
That's
Yes.
I absolutely would
Yes.
be.
You,
Yeah.
especially you were there when one was born.
When I
so,
was, yeah, seriously, I delivered you. You better buy
have to. It's a requirement.
Well, it's funny because we talk about babies. When I first started in real estate, which is 2001, I remember helping a family move from Colorado to Hudson, New Hampshire, and they had twins. They had two twin babies, and of course I was being who I'm supposed to be, and I'm holding one baby. I'm doing what I have to do, right? And 30 days after we closed, the gentleman who moved to Hudson because of his job got laid off and had to move back to. So we sold the house. I helped him sell it again.
Oh, wow.
I think it was about a year and a half ago. Penny is the wife's name. Sent me a picture on Facebook of me holding one of her daughters.
Oh.
And right next to it was the picture of her teenage daughter,
Yeah.
who's now an athlete. She's a swimmer. And I just looked at those two pictures and I said, how could that time pass so quickly?
Isn't that
Right?
true?
Yeah.
I have no intent or ambition to sell them another home,
Right.
or to any way impact the sale or purchase of a home.
Right.
But we're friends. We're in a
That's
relationship.
right.
Exactly.
Yes. Yes.
Frank,
And, social media allows us to do so much to
does.
connect people.
It
Yep.
really does. I feel silly thinking it, but I do very often that I love Facebook so much, you know? I love it. There are people out there that I wouldn't necessarily be talking to on a daily basis, but I know how their children are growing up or that momentous occasions are happening, and that's when I can, I should reach out because but want to reach out in those
Yeah.
moments, and I wouldn't have necessarily known about them
Right.
otherwise. I love it so much.
Yeah, or the people that you were best friends with in middle school.
Yes.
And lost touch with after, 8th grade or
Yeah.
something, and then you see them now on Facebook. It's fun.
It is.
See their kids.
It's fun.
Well,
It's meaningful.
It's
You can
fun
also,
and it's meaningful.
Yep.
There's a gentleman by the name of Keith Ferrazzi. He wrote a book, Never Eat Alone.
Oh,
Never
yeah,
Eat
I've
Alone,
read
right?
that.
Right.
It's a great book.
I remember listening to the audio when I was working out at the gym. I just stopped in my tracks when he told us a story about a banker that he was serving. He made a phone call, and I think he had the birth date recorded. So he calls the banker on his birthday at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, when everyone who the banker knows, who loves him and knows him, should have already wished him a happy birthday.
uh-huh.
And Keith just said, "Hey, I just want to give a call and wish you a happy birthday."
Nice.
And there was silence on the phone. The gentleman was choked up because that was the first call he'd received to wish him a happy birthday all
Oh,
day. And I just stopped for a minute. And if you think about the society we live in today, it's all about texting and maybe even a Facebook message for a birthday.
Yeah.
Think of the power if you made a phone call.
yeah.
True. Very
Yeah.
true.
So one of the habits that I started was I look at Facebook for that type of personal information, and I will typically send a message on Facebook in the morning, and later in the afternoon I'll call, and depending on the relationship, I'll either wish a happy birthday or I'll sing happy birthday.
I love it. Yeah,
Oh.
perfect.
All right,
did I
mine's
get?
coming
I-
up December 15th, so I'll
Yeah,
expect
all
my
right.
call.
Very good.
I think I got a song. I'm pretty sure I did.
Yes.
You did, Mary.
Yeah.
Gotten the song.
Nice. Yay.
Hey, Frank, would you
right.
talk to us a little bit about systems behind this? We talk about it up here sometimes, but for people who are thinking, well, what is he really talking about? I know a few people. What should I do? Send my Christmas list or my holiday list or?
Sure. Well, first and foremost, the most important system to have is the one that you'll actually use.
Fair.
Keywords.
Which means to me, it needs to be simple.
Yeah. Okay.
I currently, some people spend so much money on contact management systems and data, databases. Oh, and by the way, websites and everything else. We can spend money every time we turn a corner. I use Google, which is absolutely free, as a contact relationship management system. It just reminds me of what I need to do for everybody in my database. The system you have to have is, I took what Brian Buffini taught me in his coaching program, and I kind of expanded it to what I call a relationship development program. It's simply a system of contact. I call all of my database once a quarter, just to check in and say hello. I'm not trying to sell anything. Well, each one of those phone calls is followed up by a handwritten personal note. Just that action alone, that's 8 contacts a year.
Yep.
And by the way, I'm going to call on birthdays, send birthday cards. My system has me connecting with people more than 52 times a year.
Wow.
Wow.
They don't even know it
Right.
Yeah.
because it's authentic, it's meaningful. I track Facebook. My system is to track Facebook. If someone's announcing that they're expecting a child, here we go with the math again. I do the math.
Yeah.
And I figure out about when they're going to be due.
Yeah.
And I simply send a message to my wife, Carol, because she handles that end of it for me. Baby alert. And so when the baby arrives, there's a gift that arrives as well.
That's
nice.
amazing. Yeah.
They don't even know how I knew.
Right. Right.
And so the system that you want to use can be very complicated. It doesn't need to be.
Right.
So I remember, and I won't mention the brand name, but I remember a CRM that I was introduced to that was the best in the industry. And then I became a certified mentor for Richard Robbins, who's out of Canada, a real estate coach. They also had their own contact management system, and the trainer was teaching us how to use it. And I asked him, I said, what's the difference between this one and the one that I'm currently using? He said, well, Frank, I used to be a trainer for that one too. And the biggest problem you have there is most people who use it, it is the best in the industry, but most people only use 1% of what it can possibly do.
Oh,
Right.
Oh, wow.
It was one of the most expensive programs out there.
Yeah.
So you don't need to spend that money. You need to be relational. So the
Yes.
system is, how would you want to be treated?
Yes. Yes.
I've experienced many times when I call a client in any of the businesses that I've done 6, 7 months down the road, the first phone call is, okay, what's wrong? Why are you calling me? And when I'm authentically only calling to check in, it's almost a surprise to them.
Right. Not very many people do. We found that during the pandemic. You know, I started making care calls.
Yes.
Just, hey, how you doing? How you handling it? And those were some of the best, most meaningful calls.
I know.
And it wasn't about business. It was just, you know, I was home too, like everyone else.
Right.
You knew they would answer the phone, and it was just a great time to kind of reconnect.
It did. It felt like we were all in this together, and it was a great reason to call everybody and check in and just see how people you hadn't talked to for years were doing. And it did, I think, take a lot of people off guard that it was a phone call rather than a text or a message, you know, a Facebook message.
And I was one of the few calls they got. Not everyone was doing that.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, the other thing too
I
is...
love what you called it, Mary. It was a care call.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Care call, right.
It's perfect. It is exactly what it is.
Yep.
I try to get other businesses, other business people excited about doing business by referral. Now, we're pretty entrenched in it in real estate. We hear it repeated, but you know, a dentist starting out a new business, or I know there are restrictions on personal financial planners now, but anybody in any business, Frank, do you find that there, I mean, or do you guys find that there's a extension? Do you have other businesses who are sending you notes, calling you up, asking how you're doing, wishing you a happy birthday?
Yes, it's my husband's birthday today, and I just got an email wishing him a happy birthday from our dentist.
Oh, you got the email.
I got the email.
Oh,
so they're
that's a smart dentist.
Smart dentist, yeah.
I don't see much of it.
I get a lot. I get, you know, the paper store, you know, some other businesses around town, if they've asked you for your birthday. I'm going to see a show in New York City with some other Keller Williams agents from around the United States, and we booked a hotel, and I joined their rewards or whatever, and they sent me a birthday discount thing already because my birthday's coming up next month.
No, I was thinking of just kind of like Mary's dentist, you know, somebody very local building their business, you know, and kind of starting out, and
I get those calls from lenders.
lenders, lenders, yes. Lenders do it pretty well.
Lenders do a pretty good job.
Pretty well.
But you're right, small businesses, I don't know.
They could do so much more.
Yeah, I think there is an opportunity there. You're right.
And as I'm listening, I'm just writing down some notes. So in 1986, I believe, Brian Buffini became a real estate agent and started to develop a coaching program. Ironically, Ivan Meisner, who was the founder of Business Networking International, had started his business in 1985.
Okay.
I can match up what Brian teaches in his programs directly connected to what Ivan taught in his networking program.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Wow.
What you're saying is it's all about who do you know, how can you help.
Yep.
So 3 names I just wrote down. Ivan Meisner, who wrote a book called Networking Like a Pro. Definitely a must read for anyone who wants to learn how to develop relationships with other business owners.
Excellent.
Okay.
Thank you.
Full relationship. The book I wrote down was 7 Levels of Communication.
Yep.
Yes.
Big fan of that.
These guys, and by the way, Michael Mayer learned his stuff from Brian Buffini. The first page of the book, I knew where he was coming
Such
from.
a trickle.
Ripple. Right?
Ripple, yeah.
In Michael's book, they have a color diagram of the actual 7 levels of communication. It's a triangle.
It is.
If you look at that triangle, you can see how strong a connection you're making depending on where it fits in the triangle. So you've got like mass marketing, constant contact, that
Right.
kind of stuff. That's at the base. Yes, it's communication, but it's not much.
Right.
And then it goes up a little bit higher. And then you get to handwritten personal notes is the dividing line. That's right in the middle of the triangle. And then you go to personal phone calls, personal contact, one-to-one meetings,
Yeah.
those types of things. The higher up the triangle you go, the more powerful the relationship becomes,
Right.
Very true.
Yeah. Yeah.
right? So I recall I was in a home that I had sold to a teacher, and her colleague was a handyman. He was doing some work. It was during the summer. He was doing some work at the house. And I remember Jill, I'm sorry, her name was Amy. Remember Amy asking Bill, the contractor, hey, Bill, who do you know that can do these hardwood floors or whatever? And Bill said, I really don't have anybody for that. And she said, okay, don't worry about it. Frank's here. I'm sure Frank has somebody.
Yep.
I didn't realize, but oftentimes I would just say, I got a guy for that.
Right, right.
Yeah.
So at least, especially in what we do for a living, serving other people, if you can be the connector, connecting them with other people who can do a good job at a fair price, raise your value in that person's lives.
That's exactly right.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
it's just so easy. It sometimes feels too easy, right? You're really just connecting people, and you're just like that, and that means the world to the people you're hooking up together, and you're just the person who knows the person, the source
Yeah.
of the source,
And there's not necessarily any money in it for you.
No.
Yeah.
You know, my friend Virginia, who's an interior designer, she was at somebody's home, and there was a beautiful piece of furniture that the top needed to be refinished. And they said, can anybody help me? And she could just pull out of her hat the best refinisher in Northern
Yeah.
Virginia and say, this is the best.
Yep.
Well, I think there's two components to that, in the sense that you have to know, like, and trust the people you're recommending because they are an extension of you. So I think that that's really important piece too.
Yeah.
Yeah, great.
Yeah, it's not just blind
One of the things that I've
referral,
developed in my business, I actually have what I call a power team.
Love it.
The power team are the list of all the vendors that I know, like, and trust.
Right.
So when my clients need help in any one of those arenas, I have a resource to go to. And if I believe in making referrals the proper way,
I love this.
don't just pass out business cards.
Yep.
Okay.
I would say, Mary Forrester, you need a dentist. I've got a great one for you. If it's okay with you, I'd like to call him and make the introduction, and we'll connect you, whether it be by email or by phone call, so that I make sure the professional gets the referral.
Yep.
Got you.
Right? Now, there are some restrictions, like you can't do that with an attorney because they can't call out. But you can still at least make the connection.
Yep.
And by doing that, I'm also teaching my business partners how to refer me.
Right.
I've had people ask me for, hey, could I have a stack of your business cards? I'm sorry, I don't do that. I'll give you one card, and then I want to simply ask you that when you have someone that you think I can serve, give me a call, get their permission to give me their contact information, and I'll be happy to take great care of them
Awesome.
for you.
It's funny, I went to a networking event the other night, and there were 300 people there, and it was a couple of law title firms combining, so they were sort of having their big splash as their new endeavor. And I purposely didn't take any business cards. And I thought about it ahead of time because someone was like, did you bring plenty of business cards? I'm like, no, I'm not going to do it that way. You hand them out, you never hear from anyone. I took a bunch, I gave numbers, put my number in their phone on the spot, kind of a thing.
Yeah.
So, I'm excited with the follow-up that goes with that because I had meaningful conversations and
Right.
I didn't just hand it out, to anyone. We had to go that sort of extra step to exchange information.
Awesome.
That makes me
Mary,
feel-
meaningful conversations.
Yes.
Right.
Key, right?
Yes.
It's
I've
key.
actually started, I have a digital picture of my business card in my phone, and I will strike up a meaningful conversation, and then I'll ask for their contact information, or they'll ask for mine, and I'll say, gee, I don't have my business cards with me. Actually, I learned this from Gary Keller. Gary Keller at Keller Williams doesn't carry business cards. He collects information from people who want his contact information so that he could then send it to them.
Right.
I do it with my phone. I would simply say, Mary, I'd be happy to share that with you. What's your phone number? I'll send it over to you right now.
That's so perfect.
Yep.
Yeah, it's
I love
wonderful.
it. Yeah.
Wonderful.
But you can't do that unless you've already had a meaningful conversation.
Correct.
Right.
And they're not going to be very willing to do it unless you have done that.
Very
yeah.
true.
Yeah.
I mean, I typically see people going to networking events, collecting business cards. I have a picture somewhere in my photos, a real estate team. I walked into their manager's office, maybe 50 or 60 business cards all thrown across the top of the corner of her desk. And I said, how long have those been there? They'd been there a little while because there was dust on them. And she said, well, I don't know. I got that at some event. So there was no intentionality. She wasn't intending to do anything with it.
Yeah.
And so we go to networking events thinking we're being productive,
Right.
yet we walk away with information that we do nothing with.
Yep.
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 So my goal is typically, I don't want to have any more than 3 to 5 business cards that I collect. I can follow up with 3 to 5 business cards in the next 2 days. They still remember who I am. And now I can try to take it to the next level, whether that be a one-to-one meeting over a cup of coffee or lunch. I want to get to know you better so we can help each other in business.
That's genius.
Absolutely.
I feel like such a newbie in this. You guys are so, well versed in all of this stuff, but everything you're saying, Frank, I'm like, that's a nugget. That's a nugget. I should do that. That's great. I'm going to start doing it that way. It's great. This is one of the benefits of being the new girl on the scene, because I just get to absorb everything you guys.
Well, and Mary,
teaching me.
you do a lot of that naturally. You don't
Naturally.
even know you're doing it.
Yes, you do it
So it's funny that you would think that this is new and a nugget,
Well,
some of it. Because,
Thank you. I appreciate it. I mean, it's not really, I know.
Yeah.
But, that genius idea of just talking to somebody and not bringing, because I get that panicky feeling if I've forgotten my business card when I go somewhere. I'm like, oh, gosh. Well, I might as well not even introduce myself to
Exactly.
anybody because
Exactly.
how embarrassing it is that I don't have my card.
And
No,
you're
do
so
it
much
with
more
intention.
interesting than that piece of paper, too. I mean,
Right.
you're so much more interesting. So
It all
Right.
all
Yes.
makes perfect sense when you say it out loud like this.
yeah,
But yeah,
good.
Yeah.
Next time you're going to try it.
Now, now I'm like not ordering more business cards.
So Mary and Mary, you know a little bit more about Frank because we had a preliminary conversation.
Yeah.
Do you want to explore any other aspects of what he kind of brings to our
There's
shared
so
interests?
much. Yeah, I think we probably have a very shared interest in your Mission 22
Absolutely.
work that you're doing there. And I don't mean to make light. So that's a push, sort of a raise awareness for military suicide, correct? And by people doing push-ups, right?
How many push-ups did you do, Frank?
Yikes.
I think, let's see, September was the Suicide Awareness Month, and I did over 7,000 push-ups in September.
Wow.
Oh,
I think I did this back in March or April, fundraising for the cause.
Wow.
Veteran suicide is real.
Yeah.
It's the numbers. When the program started, there's a gentleman by the name of Magnus Johnson, who's a former Green Beret. When he came back from Afghanistan, he went through some challenging times, as did some of his colleagues. So they started a foundation called Mission 22. And at that time, there were 22 veterans per day being lost to suicide. That number, my last check, it dropped to about, I think, 19. But, I mean, even one is too many,
Yeah.
right?
One is
Yeah,
way too many.
It is.
We're anticipating with the veterans coming back from Iraq and Afghanistan, the numbers are going to start to go up again.
Yeah.
We're already starting to see it. So I got involved with them. I wanted to serve veterans in a way that was meaningful and truly felt like I had an obligation because I was the guy selling them on joining the military.
Right. Yeah.
So maybe I should help them on the back end. So that wasn't tongue-in-cheek. That was real.
Yep.
Yeah.
In January of this year, I turned 65 years old, and I decided I was not going to work so hard at my business and maybe give back.
Yeah.
Did 3 different things. I got involved with Mission 22, also the Marine Corps League. I'm a retired Marine. I'm also the commandant of the local Marine Corps League, which is an organization that serves and helps other Marines, Navy Corps and captains.
Yes.
That's fantastic.
Found that and then I also volunteered at a museum. I had to let the museum go because I didn't feel like I was serving the veteran. I was a tour guide.
Right.
But my focus is Mission 22 and the Marine Corps League.
Yeah.
And I'll say this, we all have strengths. And I was just reminded of one of my strengths yesterday. I'm a member of the American Legion. I get involved on Tuesday nights. We have a little game called Show Me the Money. It's fun. They can win some money in the game. But we also generate money for us to help veterans.
Okay.
I was gone for 3 weeks when I drove up to New Hampshire to move my mom back down here. So I missed Show Me the Money for like 3 weeks in a row. I this past Tuesday, and people actually missed me.
Aw. Yeah.
And someone said to me yesterday, I was dropping off some paperwork, said, Frank, I just want to let you know, you are the driving force behind this game because you can tell that you actually care and you're having fun. And by the way, you like people.
Right.
And I do like people.
Yeah. Yep.
I would pose this question to you and your audience. What is your strength? My strength is shaking hands and kissing babies.
I love it.
That's what I do.
Yeah.
I'm there with you, I think.
That, I get invigorated. My energy is up. If I'm having a bad day, I just need to go out and meet somebody.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if I reflect back, even to my early days as a young 21-year-old starting out as a Marine recruiter, if I was having a bad day, I just had to go out and talk to somebody.
Yeah. Yeah.
So for those of us that are real estate agents, if you're having a bad day, go talk to somebody.
Talk to people.
Talk to people.
I did it last night. It was so rejuvenating. It was fun. Yeah.
Good. Good.
I fully agree with that. That's talking to people, getting into the heart of their being quickly. That's my strength. Yeah.
There you go. Knowing what your strength is extremely important. You folks, I know, Mairi, you had mentioned you're relatively new to real estate.
Yep.
Most people who come into real estate, they struggle with, where do I find people?
It's true, that is, and even in our coaching, that's one of the things. I say they're all right in your phone, first of all.
Yeah, it turns out they are, and that's exactly what I've discovered this first year in real estate is I didn't have that real panic mode button because I'm middle-aged, so I have, a lot of time with people like earning credit.
Really pushing that.
All right, whatever. So I'm not 15, right? I've had a life, and I've raised children. They have friends. Like I have a long list of people that I've met in my life, and that I've sort of become endeared to over life, and those are my people, and it just happens that if you mention you're a real estate agent to those people who already think that you're kind of a cool person, they want to talk to you about real estate. It's not me
and tell their friends.
And tell their friends, right. And, refer their mothers to me if they're moving, things like that. It's very meaningful to have moved through life and gained relationships that I would have anyway without an intention to ever make a dollar off of anybody, and then have those relationships come back and be business for me. Yeah,
I just heard the word relationship like 6 times.
Very important.
It is.
And truth be told, they are in your phone. When I tell new agents to call the people they know, I have a challenge here in Florida. A lot of people come here from somewhere else.
Right, yeah.
Then they get involved with real estate. And, well, Frank, everybody I know, I'm coaching an agent right now, everybody I know is in Michigan. Well, okay, start with
referral business.
For a living. And guess what? A lot of people from Michigan move to Florida. So maybe they'll know somebody who's coming here. Yep. But it starts just little pieces.
Yep.
Let people know. Well, I don't want to call everyone I know because I'm a pest. In 1980, I took a break from the Marine Corps for 1 year, and I sold insurance for Metropolitan. And my sales manager, the very first thing he made me do was take a pen and a piece of paper and write down 100 names of people that I knew well enough that I could call them and let them know what I do for a living.
Yep.
Excellent.
It's a good exercise.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Great exercise. And it's as powerful today as it was in 1980.
Yeah.
It is.
Who do you know? Because you got to start somewhere.
You do.
And then you get back to the math.
And it's funny though.
2,500 people in that phone.
Yes.
Times 250. Right?
But it's funny that fear holds people back from doing that. Calling the people who know them the best and are the closest to them and would be their biggest advocate. And yet there's that, you know, analysis paralysis or whatever,
Yeah.
you know, that goes with like, what? Oh, I can't. That's my friend. I can't call them and, you know, tell them about real estate.
Yeah, I don't want them
Well,
to
you know,
not answer.
I have a cute story. There was a young lady that I met at the gym. She was a teenager at the time, and I went to a gym called Best Fitness, which is in Nashua. And so I was one of the regulars. So you get the regular crew that comes in, and she was there. Her dad was a former Marine. That's how we kind of got connected. But anyway, I watched her grow up. She graduated from high school. She went to college, got a degree, and moved to Hawaii. With friends on Facebook. It wasn't unusual for me to just ask people if it was okay to reach out on Facebook, and we did. And I guess it's been 3 years now. So 3 years ago, I happened to see a post that she's going to move back to New Hampshire.
Oh.
So I simply sent her a message, hey, let me know if I can be of any help in your move.
Nice.
5 minutes later, my phone's ringing. She's asking me all kinds of questions, right?
Yep.
So at that point, I'm doing all of my business in northern Massachusetts and New Hampshire simply by referral. And I have a colleague who I refer all my business to. So I make the connection. And it turns out that this 23-year-old now, at the age of 16, was the designated driver for the referral, the agent that I referred to, after he was partying with all his buddies,
Oh,
right?
geez.
And he got the business because I got the referral.
Right.
Right.
He knew her better than I
And
did.
then they had a
That's
big
so
connection.
funny.
Right.
He didn't think it was funny when he gave me, you know, percentage for the
Yeah,
commission.
exactly.
But you know, that so many times little stuff like that happen. Talking on Facebook, I'm watching a conversation from one of my clients to someone she knows who I don't know. My client is saying, the woman was having difficulty, was going into a short sale. You need to talk to Frank Menard. He's the best. And I just happened to be there.
Right.
I get involved in the conversation. And I'll just use the first initials were M.A. I thought it was Ma and whatever her last name was.
Okay.
So I just said, hey, Ma, if you want some help, here's my number. Literally, less than a minute, my phone rings, we connect. Turns out this woman was a teacher for both of my kids in high school.
Oh,
Oh
wow.
my gosh.
We helped her sell the house, get out of a difficult situation. 7 years later, she called me to get a referral to purchase a house in Maine.
Oh, super.
You don't know.
No.
Yep, you
And-
don't.
Never know.
It's not like I'm trying hard to do this.
No, but that's the
Right.
thing that gives me the goosebumps. It feels like everything happens for a reason in those scenarios. You know, you were put in that place to meet those people so you could do this later, and all of these things come to fruition because of it. That stuff makes me feel like we're so all interconnected, and the universe is all
Right.
energy together.
Yeah.
I love that.
It's funny that you say that about connections, because relationship, that's one sort of level, but then it's connecting people
Yes.
as well. And then it's also having your eyes open for opportunity.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. The word I have written down on my notes here is awareness. Be aware of what's going on around you.
aware.
Right. Yep.
Be aware.
Because if you are aware, there are opportunities to help people everywhere.
Everywhere. Absolutely
Everywhere.
right. Yeah.
Right?
It's incredible.
But if we become so tunnel focused on getting the business, we don't see the opportunities.
Right.
If we simply, and I know Mairi said, forget about Zig Ziglar. Zig Ziglar said, if you help enough people get what they want, you'll get everything you want. Mairi, I told you I was going to get it in.
There you go.
Gotcha.
I almost got the quote. And, I almost said, so we get as the host or the MC of the event, we get to choose the quote. It's a great segue because I did want to get to our quote, and
Yes.
I thought, okay, Frank. Maybe we'll do the Zig Ziglar quote, but I think we've done it before. I had somehow a feeling that we talked about that
Maybe.
particular
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
So we do have a quote today,
All right,
ladies
let's
and
hear it.
Frank.
Let's hear it,
And
yeah.
so the quote of the day is a Jane Goodall quote. And I just suggested it because my friend has told me she just read the book about Jane Goodall, and here's the quote. Only when our clever brain and human heart work together in harmony can we achieve our true potential. And so I'd love you all to kind of give your thoughts about that, about kind of that message. And
I think it's beautiful. I'm sorry if anybody was going to talk first, but
Go,
the
go,
first
girl.
thing, I think
no
it's really
stopping you.
beautiful, and nobody can stop me. But when your brain is actually engaged with what your heart's desire is, and it's challenging to you, and you can use your brain to solve the problems that are on your heart or somebody else's heart, and those two things come together, there is no better feeling. It's just, that's what it's all about, right? That's what sets us as humans in motion and on fire, and you know, fills us with passion. You know, one without the other is just doing something by rote or out of, you know, habit, you know. But when the two are together, that's the beauty of life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's very profound, I think, and a little deeper than I was kind of thinking. I love
be
that,
stopped.
Mary. I love that. No, but I think that's why we like masterminds and brainstorming. At least I do. I love that. I like to collectively put our brains and our power and our thoughts and our passions together in one place, and then see what, you know, rises to the top. I think that's why we're here with Married to Real Estate. You know, among the other things that we do.
That's absolutely right. Yeah.
Frank, you have any
Well, you
thoughts
know-
about it?
I know if you think from the heart,
Yep.
you do things intentionally, so you're engaging your brain. Here's the situation, how can I help? And then just follow through with that.
Yep.
I think it's a wonderful quote because it does tie the brain to the heart. And it's if you don't care enough to help someone else, you lose a little piece of your own humanity.
Yes.
We're human beings. Humanity is designed to help each other. So why would we do it any other way?
Right.
So I think it's a wonderful quote. What was the book, Mary, that Jane Goodall
You
wrote?
know, I have to ask my friend. It was the title, Virginia?
Something. Yeah.
The Book of Hope.
The Book of Hope.
The Book of Hope just came out, I believe.
Mary
It's gonna have to
Forster,
be-
you should
it's
just
gonna have to
tell
be on my
everyone who's in
bookshelf.
our audience.
Oh, we
then.
have an audience today, and it is this lovely woman that I know so deeply and so well, my interior designer, but really dearest friend from Northern Virginia, Virginia Hoddle. And so she comes up to Massachusetts periodically to fix my house and fix me, and we have a great time. We really do. It's more than just about me, by the way.
Yeah.
And we have a really, really great time. So it's the Book of Hope, Frank. It's really.
Yeah.
And what I love about the quote is, as I was thinking last night about Frank being our guest today, I was thinking, so what is it about Frank that really stands out? And I have this list of attributes. I'm actually going to copy it for you, Frank, in case you don't know. These are your attributes, right? And
You'll be CC'd on an email.
You'll be CC'd, yeah.
Taking notes.
It is being caring. It is being curious. And to me, curiosity is what propels me every day. I took Virginia to Rockport yesterday, and it was so fascinating to see the houses, the properties, the seacoast, and how the business fit along the seacoast.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
And how beautiful it was, and
A lot of artists.
a lot of artists. And so curiosity, helping others, being with others, living in community. And Frank is a terrific leader, as you can see.
He is.
Absolutely can feel that.
Yeah, a terrific leader and a teacher. So I so appreciate your being here today with
Yes,
us.
thank you, Frank. So nice to meet you.
Thank you. So I
thank you all for the opportunity. It's been a lot of fun.
So if there is, I have a question for you. If there is a way for people to support Mission 22 other than doing push-ups, because I want to state that the last time I did a push-up, I tore my rotator cuff, and I'm never doing another one. But if there's a way, what can our audience do to help support that?
The easiest way to support Mission 22 is to go to mission22.com.
Okay.
It'll bring you directly to their website. There's a way for you to learn more about all the services that we provide to veterans, as well as to be able to donate directly to the cause.
Perfect.
Great.
Thank you so much for that.
Great. Mary, and you have any other closing words you want for us today?
No, just thank you. Really appreciate your time and love what you do and your mindset. And I think you've given me some things to think about,
Yeah.
which I appreciate.
I appreciate the opportunity, and I don't know that I'm as qualified as Mairi made it sound that I am.
Yes, you are.
Sounds like you are.
Yeah.
But it's a lot of fun, and just continue to enjoy life, have fun with what you're doing.
Yeah.
I just gave inspirational talk to the Women's Council of Realtors, and I said, you know what? It's all about love. You got to love what you do. You got to love who you are. You got to love the people that you work with, and just love the life that you have.
You are awesome.
Well, I
Thank
love
you.
that.
Thank you
I
so
love
much,
that
Frank.
too. Wait, I have one more thing to say.
Oh,
before
one
you
more
go.
thing.
I have one more thing before you go.
One more.
I am clearly on a trajectory to become a Marine recruiter because I started in Nashua too as a recruiter for.
You're a little older than 19. So
I think I might be a little. That was my question: is am I too old to join the Marines? Because I
Can't do a push-up, so forget it.
I can't do a push-up.
You're
oh
done.
My God. I can't do
That's
math.
it.
I can't do a push-up. Forget about it. But yes, so I was a temp recruiter at an agency in Nashua. So
okay.
we were
You've got
probably
recruiting
there.
in your blood.
yeah, have it in the blood.
Love that.
Recruiting is selling.
Yeah, it is.
My son joined us for about 6 months in the real estate business, and he finally decided it wasn't for him. He said, Dad, I just feel like I have to get up every morning and sell. And I responded
look
to
at
him
it
and said,
like that.
son, that's life.
Yeah,
You're selling somebody on something,
that's
right?
that's exactly right. Yeah.
Thank you
All right.
again
Well,
so
thank
much.
you for that.
And happy Thanksgiving to you and your
Yes,
family,
Happy
okay?
Thanksgiving, everyone.
Enjoy your holidays.
All
Okay,
the
thank you,
holidays.
Frank. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.